What's going on, y'all? It is me, Jess, and I am back again with another video. So if you've been following me along in this series thus far, I want to say I appreciate you. One of the goals that I had was to come on this page and to talk about some of the things that people may not have ever touched on as it relates to weight loss, what it's like to exist in a bigger body, and what it's like to be obese and experience a massive weight loss. And throughout a lot of these episodes, I've kind of touched on a lot of the things that I lost, a lot of the things that I didn't know, a lot of the things that I wish could have been differently that weren't okay. But like I realized, y'all, I have not touched on the things that like were great or are great, right? And I want to let this episode be just that scenario where I talk about some of the things that have been absolutely great. Because just as much as things has been, bad or terrible or not that great from losing a massive amount of weight, there has been a lot of good from that as well. And I want to touch on that. So the first one is, and I have my handy dandy iPad, but my first one is confidence, y'all. My confidence now is at such a exuberant, and is that even a word? I don't know. It's such at a level that is, I can't even quantify it, y'all. And that's not to say I had low self-esteem, because I always been that girl. Face always been T, now body T too. Okay. And not to the extent where I want it just yet, because I still want to get skin removal, as I said before. I want to get augmentation if I decide to go that route, or transfer. You know what I mean? So there's some things that I just want to do to my body where I feel like I'll reach the ultimate. However, looking at where I was and looking at where I am now, it's like night and day, y'all. Absolutely night and day. And I want to say, like, people tend to think that just because you have an excessive amount of weight that you have low self-esteem, right? And when I say I've gained so much confidence, it's not to say when I was smaller, or not smaller, when I was bigger, that I had low self-esteem, because I didn't. The two are not synonymous, y'all. There are so many people who exist in smaller bodies who have low self-esteem, and there are so many people who exist in bigger bodies who self-confidence is out of this world, like out of this world, right? So I will say I did gain another level of confidence within myself, but then also it wasn't perfection, but just another level of self-reassurance. Also, I gained better health and energy, y'all. This has been so phenomenal, y'all. I literally move and walk through the world with ease, right? I can scoot past something, I can do something. I just feel so much better. I have so much energy. My health, I've eliminated those possibilities of having diabetes and heart disease and so many different other things that can come from being overweight or obese. So I've only greatened my health. And then also, as it relates to that, I have more energy. I'm not as sluggish, or, I have more energy to go work out and do certain things that I may not didn't have the energy to do. There's some people who exist in larger bodies who can barely move, can barely walk, who are not mobile. So to bring that back, and I was never like immobile. I mean, I was big, but I wasn't like that big. But let's just say I move through the world with ease now, and my health is just overall just better, not only physically, but like mentally, and even here, because now I carry myself in such a way that, like, yesterday's price ain't today's price. And sometimes people try to act like I'm the same Jessica that was from 200 pounds ago, and I'm just not. I'm just not. And then now you get the, oh, you different, oh, da. But you know what? I am different. You know, life is just different now. I carry myself differently now. The freedom to travel, move, and to try new experiences, y'all. So I told you all before that one of the things that is the cost of being big or overweight or obese is you are limited to certain things you can do. You may not be able to get on that roller coaster, baby. Nope. You might not be able to go bungee jumping, skydiving. You might not be able to go to what's that where you fly up in the air, like the indoor skydiving. You may not be able to get on the airplane without purchasing 2 seats. There are certain things that you may not be able to do. You might not even be able to get food, and people look at you like, dang, you don't need nothing to eat. You eating again? Like, the ability to be able to travel and not have my hips spilling over to the person to the left and to the right, or being able to walk through the aisle without my hips bumping from seat to seat like this. You know what I'm saying? And I would say this as well. For some odd reason, I don't know why people tend to think that I am 6 feet tall. Maybe it's the photos. Maybe it's how I look in the photos. But y'all, I am 5'2". Okay. 5'2" at 350 pounds. I was definitely like I was. It was given that. Okay. So like now that I am in a smaller body, it just makes it easier to do so many different things, to try a lot of different experiences. I even say this too, being at that size, it did hinder my dating experiences because nobody wanted to be with the big girl, right? But like now, y'all, so many doors have opened, so many opportunities. Like, lose the weight. Don't stop letting people keep you big. It's so many different ways to lose weight, y'all. Lose the weight. You will not regret it, because I don't know how many big people who actually want to be big. I don't know too many of them. If you do, let me know. But I don't know. Lose the weight. So many different ways to lose weight. Okay. Get you a surgery. Get you a GLP-1. Get you a something. If you want to do the natural way, cool. Cool. It's multiple ways to skin a cat, but baby, lose the weight. Okay. And then I also want to say this as well. My relationship with food has changed, y'all. So before, and I was never like a super big, terrible eater. Now, was I the best? No. But I wasn't eating I wasn't eating super great things, but they weren't super trash either. And this is another thing too. People tend to think that just because you're big, that like it's due to overeating. There are some people who are big because they just are in bigger bodies, and that's just the way genetics play, right? And I would just say this, growing up as well, there were certain things that my mom did not just buy. She just didn't buy a whole lot of X, Y, and Z. To this day, I still don't drink soda and pop because she just didn't buy these things, right? So I will say my relationship with food has changed because now I'm able to take those experiences, but then tie it into how I eat now, right? So I don't believe in starving yourself or depriving yourself. I always say treat yourself, because one of the things that leads to binge eating is when you try to take everything out. Now that works for some people, they can go cold turkey. Not for me. So I've been able to balance keeping the things that I like within reason. Instead of eating a whole pack of cookies, I might have four. I might have four. I might not have a whole pack. Before, I probably may have ate the whole pack or half the pack. So I will say, and I didn't even really use food as a clutch in my opinion, because I wasn't. Some people are emotional eaters. I wouldn't say I was an emotional eater. It's just I liked what I liked. And two, now because I only eat the same 5 things anyway. If you didn't know, I don't eat beef, pork, chicken, or dairy. I can go into that in another video, but it wasn't all just for weight, to lose weight, why I eat like that. But I have found that since I have eliminated those things, I typically really don't gain weight like that either. So that part. And because I'm so limited on what I can have, it does make it a little bit harder to have some of the things that I may have used to eat back in the day. I gained discipline and consistency, y'all. Like, I really locked in. And I want to say this too. When COVID came back around and I was about to be 300 pounds again, and I said, oh, hell no. I locked in from the pits of my soul, and I put the work in. And ever since then, it's been up. If it's up, if it's up, then it's up, then it's stuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally put the work in, the discipline. I don't think you realize how hard it is to lose weight, to an extent. I don't think you realize how hard it is to be disciplined, not only with your food, but what you do in the gym. And if you actually go work out, right? What you do in the kitchen matters more than the gym. However, I gained another level of consistency and discipline because that's what I needed to have. And that's what brought me this far, because I wanted it that bad. Me personally, I wanted it that bad. I did, and I locked in. A deeper self, understanding your worth beyond your appearance. So this is something that I won't say I had to learn, but when you start off looking one way, I was, overweight, obese majority of my life. And like where I'm at now, sometimes it could be twofold, right? When I was bigger, I always say I was more attainable, because people felt like they could get me because of what my exterior looked like. Oh, I can get that. Now it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. It's do I still get approached? For sure, but it's different, right? When I was perceivably more easy and attainable, and I always say you got to be careful what kind of attention you get. It may not be the kind of attention that you want to get, right? But I will say this, I had to gain a deeper level of myself because sometimes now that I'm in this shell, I don't want people to be around me because they want to experience me based off of what I look like on the outside. So that took a deeper level of understanding within myself to not, because when you go from not getting that to people just wanting to see what's up, that's not to say people didn't want to see what's up then. Yo, a lot of people operate in like polarizing things, right? Some middle ground in there, but I had to lock in with me so that I didn't allow that to get to my head and have me doing crazy stuff, right? So I gained a higher level of myself, self-respect, how I want to move, how I want to carry myself, and also realize that not everybody has access to me, and not everybody should have access to me because I'm sacred, for sure. Okay. I will say something I've gained as well is hope for the future. I could have never thought like I would have ever been at this size. I've never been 150 pounds, y'all. The time I can remember, I've probably been 150 pounds. Y'all might have been in the fourth or the fifth grade. Yeah. So I would have never imagined myself where I'm at now. Not at all. So it's given me so much hope. It has allowed me to feel like I've extended so many years on my life. It gives me hope that like I'll have partnership, that I'll have children, that I'll be able to have these experiences in my life that I didn't have prior to losing all the weight that I did. You know, it gives me kind of something to look forward to. I will say this, and this might ruffle a few feathers, but losing the weight has allowed me to move through the world with ease, especially given I have pretty privilege and now body T too. Y'all, life, if I wasn't a child of God, life could really have you being very strategic about how you want to move. And hopefully you picking up what I'm putting down here. But I will say that it has been perceivably smaller, thinner, and an acceptable body has allowed me to just exist normally, to have people be at my beck and call, to people wanting to be around me, to just a whole lot of great things that have come from losing all of this weight, right? And sometimes I have to check myself because I'm that girl, forever been that girl. But like I don't want it to go to my head. You get what I'm saying? So like sometimes I gotta check my own self. I be like, come on, Des. We gotta get it together, sis. We gotta get it together, okay? You that girl, but come on now, okay? So I will say that has been a benefit to, you know, losing weight. And then it has opened the doors for a lot of different opportunities, whether that's people wanting to work with you, to have you share your story, to brands wanting to work with you, to job opportunities being a thing, to so many different things. And I always say, lose the freaking weight. You are limiting yourself, your life, your experiences by staying in a bigger body. As I stated, I don't know too many big people who want to be big. Most people who are big want to lose weight, and some of them really just don't know where to start. But what I'm telling you is get started. Just get started. If you want to figure out how to get started, and I want to say I'm going to open up my memberships. Subscribe to my membership, and I'm going to help the ladies or the men who want to get started, who want tips on various different ways. I want to help some of y'all get started so that you don't have to keep existing in the body that you're unhappy in. But I'm going to wrap this up here and close out season 1 and just say thank y'all so much for just keeping up with me. It has been a hell of a journey between losing 200 pounds and even having the balls to come on here and share my journey and some of the things that I experienced. And that's not going to stop. Not at all, because I got some great things coming. But y'all, lose the weight. Lose the weight. You won't regret it. If anything, you'll regret not starting sooner. So yeah, bye.